There's a moment, an electrifying, undeniable, no going back kind of moment. When you see someone for who they truly are, the mask slips, the illusion shatters, and suddenly everything makes sense. The inconsistencies, the little lies, the way they twist words, the strange gut feeling you couldn't quite put your finger on, it all clicks. And in that moment, you're not just looking at them, you're seeing through them. This is the unmasking effect. And let me tell you, it's a game changer. Because once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you can't pretend anymore. And this shakes people who thrive on deception down to their core. See, here's the thing. People who manipulate, control, and deceive operate on one principle: illusion. They need you to believe in the false version of themselves they present to the world. They need you to stay confused, because if you're confused, they stay in control. If you question yourself, they win. If you hesitate, they keep their grip on you, but when the mask comes off, you take back the power. At first, they might not even realize it. Maybe you say less. Maybe you stop reacting. Maybe you don't fall for their games like you used to. And then it happens. They sense the shift. They see that you see them. And that's when the real fight begins. They might laugh it off, act like you're being dramatic. What are you talking about? They'll say, trying to make you feel ridiculous. Or maybe they'll go straight to defense mode, flipping the script so fast that suddenly you're the one being accused. Why are you acting so different? You're overthinking things. You always make problems where there are none. Classic tactics, but guess what? It's not working anymore, is it? Because when you've truly unmasked someone, they can't trick you the same way again. They can try. Oh, they'll try hard. They might double down on the charm, flood you with compliments, tell you everything you've ever wanted to hear. You're right, I've been under a lot of stress. I don't know what I'd do without you. I'll change, I promise. And for a second, you might feel yourself wanting to believe it. That's the old version of you, the one who hadn't seen the truth yet. But now you know. And knowing is the most dangerous weapon in the world against manipulation, because knowledge sets you free. This is where the battle really happens, not just with them, but within you. Because the moment you see someone's true nature, you have a choice. Do you stay? Do you ignore your instincts and let them keep playing their game? Or do you take action? This is where so many people get stuck. They recognize the truth, but the weight of that truth feels heavy. Because once you acknowledge it, you can't go back to the comfort of pretending. You can't unhear the words they said when they thought you weren't listening. You can't unfeel the gut punch of realizing they never had your best interest at heart. It hurts, it's supposed to, but listen, pain is temporary. Regret is what lasts forever. And nothing creates more regret than betraying yourself just to keep the peace with someone who doesn't deserve it. So what do? You make a decision, not based on emotions, not based on fear, but based on truth. And the truth is, anyone who relies on deception to navigate life will never have your back. Period. They are not looking out for you. They are looking out for themselves. So when they realize that you know, their entire strategy collapses. They scramble, they panic, they start throwing every trick in the book at you, hoping that something sticks, but it won't, because now you're 10 steps ahead. You're watching their game in real time, and it looks ridiculous. Their words don't hit like they used to. Their mind games don't work anymore. Their attempts to manipulate fall flat, because you're free. And freedom doesn't mean they won't try. Oh, they'll keep trying. They might switch tactics, act like they're the victim, pull other people into their drama. They'll spread rumors. They'll spread the pot. But it doesn't matter, because the only way they can truly control you is if you let them. And once you've seen the truth, the only way they win is if you hand them back the power. And I promise you, you are stronger than that. The moment of unmasking is your turning point. The world might feel upside down for a bit, but don't let that scare you. You're not losing anything of value. You're gaining clarity. You're gaining control over your own life. You're gaining the ability to choose who has access to your energy. And that is the real power. So let them react. Let them panic. Let them try every trick in the book. It doesn't matter because now you are in charge. There's a reason gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. It doesn't just twist your perception of reality. It makes you question yourself at the deepest level. It's a slow, methodical dismantling of your confidence, your instincts, your ability to trust your own mind. And the worst part, by the time you realize it's happening, it's already taking a toll on you. Gaslighting is not an accident. It's not a misunderstanding. It's a strategy. It's used by people who need control, and the only way to have control over someone is to make them doubt themselves. Because if you're confused, if you're constantly second guessing, if you're walking on eggshells wondering, am I overreacting? Am I being too sensitive? Then you're easier to manipulate. And that's exactly what they want. It starts subtly. Maybe you confront them about something that doesn't sit right with you. A lie, an inconsistency, a behavior that doesn't match their words. You expect an honest conversation. Instead, they flip the situation around so fast that suddenly you're the one defending yourself. What are you even talking about? That never happened. You always do this, making something out of nothing. You're imagining things. Wow, I can't believe you don't trust me after everything? And just like that, the focus shifts. You walked in with clarity, but now you're standing there questioning whether you even have a right to feel the way you do. And that's the goal, to create confusion, to plant doubt, to make you believe that you are the problem. And when denial is added into the mix, it's like gasoline on a fire. They don't just reject responsibility, they make you feel crazy for even bringing it up. They rewrite reality, painting themselves as the innocent one and you as the unstable, unreasonable aggressor. You caught them lying? No, you misunderstood. You saw the messages with your own eyes. That's not what they meant. You bring up something they did last week. Wow, you really hold on to things, don't you? And if they feel you slipping out of their control, they'll double down. Maybe they start calling you paranoid, overly emotional, too sensitive. And if that doesn't work, they pull out the big guns, making you feel guilty for even questioning them. You must really think I'm a terrible person. I guess nothing I do is ever good enough for you. I can't believe you would accuse me of that. And suddenly, you're backpedaling. You're explaining yourself. You're trying to prove that you're not being unreasonable, that you're not attacking them, that you just want an honest conversation. And just like that, they've won. Because now you're not talking about what they did. You're talking about how you reacted. You're defending your feelings instead of holding them accountable for their actions. And that's exactly where they want you. The thing about gaslighting is that it works in layers. It's not just one argument, one situation, one lie. It's an ongoing cycle. And every time they successfully make you doubt yourself, their grip on you tightens. One day you find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do. You start filtering your words, walking on eggshells, anticipating the reactions before you even speak. You start holding things in because what's the point? They'll just turn it around on you anyway. You start wondering if maybe you are too sensitive. Maybe you do overreact. Maybe it really is all in your head. That's the ultimate goal of gaslighting, to make you trust them more than you trust yourself. And let's be clear, this is not love. This is not an honest mistake. This is a calculated power play. People who gaslight do it because they cannot afford for you to think independently. If you wake up and realize what's happening, their control over you crumbles. And here's the real kicker, when they realize that their gaslighting isn't working anymore, they panic, they'll shift strategies. Maybe they'll get angry, lash out, accuse you of betraying them, or maybe they'll go the other way, turning up the charm, love bombing you, saying all the right things to reel you back in. I just don't want to fight anymore. You're right, I haven't been the best partner / friend / family member. I don't want to lose you. And for a moment, you might feel yourself wanting to believe them, because that's what makes gaslighting so powerful. It's not just about confusion. It's about attachment. It's about emotional investment. It's about caring enough that you want to believe they didn't mean to hurt you, that maybe this time will be different. But here's the truth. it won't be different. Because people who gaslight don't stop until you stop letting them, until you step out of the fog, see the pattern for what it is, and decide enough. When you do, the spell is broken. The game is over. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop explaining yourself. You stop participating in the endless cycle of proving and defending and trying to make them see your side. You realize that the person who truly cares about you will never make you question your own reality. So you step back. You reclaim your voice. You remind yourself that your feelings are valid, your instincts are sharp, and your mind is your own. And when they come back with their denial, their guilt trips, their attempts to pull you back under, you don't fall for it because now you know the truth. Blame shifting is one of the most infuriating and exhausting tactics of manipulation. It's a game that people play when they refuse to take responsibility for their actions. They don't just dodge accountability, they throw it right back at you. Suddenly, the conversation isn't about what they did wrong, it's about how you reacted, what you could have done differently, or why you are actually the real problem. It's subtle at first. Maybe you bring up something that bothered you, a lie they told, a promise they broke, something they did that hurt you. You expect a normal conversation, maybe even an apology. But instead, they look at you like you're crazy. Are you seriously mad about that? I only did that because of what you did first. If you weren't so sensitive, this wouldn't even be an issue. Just like that, the tables turn. The issue that started with their actions suddenly becomes about your reaction. It doesn't matter what they did. It's your fault for bringing it up. It's your fault for not handling it differently. They twist reality until you're standing there trying to prove that you're not being irrational, that you're not making something out of nothing, that you're not attacking them. And that's exactly where they want you, because the moment you start defending yourself, they know they've won. The focus is no longer on them, it's on you. Instead of demanding accountability, you're scrambling to explain why you even have the right to feel upset. You start doubting yourself. Maybe you do have some blame in this. Maybe, just maybe, if you had handled things differently, none of this would have happened. That's how blame shifting works. It makes you question yourself instead of questioning them. It turns every argument, every mistake, every betrayal into something you somehow caused. And if they can make you believe that, they never have to take responsibility for anything. They'll use every tactic in the book. Maybe they play the victim. I can't believe you'd bring this up right now. Don't you see how much I'm dealing with? You always attack me when I'm at my lowest. Wow, I guess nothing I do is ever good enough for you. Or maybe they go on the offensive, twisting the situation so that you're the one who ends up apologizing. If you trusted me, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I wouldn't have lied if I knew you wouldn't freak out. You made me act this way. And just like that, the script is flipped. You started out trying to hold them accountable, and somehow you're the bad guy. You're the one feeling guilty. You're the one saying sorry. You're the one wondering if maybe, just maybe, they're right. And that's the trap. Because the moment you start shouldering the blame for their actions, you're stuck in a cycle, a never-ending loop where they do whatever they want, knowing they'll never have to face the consequences. Because no matter what happens, they'll always find a way to make it your fault. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for someone else's choices. You are not responsible for how they treat you. You are not responsible for fixing what they broke. They will try to convince you otherwise. They will guilt you. They will manipulate you. They will use your kindness, your empathy, your love against you. Because the only way blame shifting works is if you accept it. If you take the burden off their shoulders and place it onto your own. But the second you stop playing the game, everything changes. When they try to flip the script, you don't follow the narrative. When they try to make you the problem, you don't take the bait. When they try to twist the truth, you hold on to reality like an anchor. You don't argue. You don't explain. You don't waste your breath trying to make them see your side because they see it already. They just don't care. Instead, you set a boundary. You say, no, I'm not responsible for your actions. I will not carry the blame for something you chose to do. This conversation is over. And then you walk away. Blame shifting only works if you let it. The moment you refuse to take responsibility for someone else's behavior, their entire strategy collapses. They can yell, they can cry, they can spin the story however they want, but none of it matters because now you know the truth. And that truth will set you free. There's a certain kind of person who never takes responsibility for anything. No matter what happens, no matter what they do, they always find a way to make themselves the victim. Even when they are the ones causing harm, somehow the story always ends with them as the wounded, misunderstood, unfairly treated one. And the moment you see through it, the moment you refuse to play into their narrative, is the moment they pull out every trick in the book to get you back under their control. At first, you might not even realize what's happening. You bring up something that bothered you, something that hurt you, something that should be a normal conversation between two adults. But instead of acknowledging what they did, instead of listening, instead of taking accountability, they turn the conversation upside down. Suddenly you're not talking about their actions anymore. You're talking about how they feel. They sigh, their face falls. Maybe they get quiet, maybe they tear up, maybe they shake their head like they just can't believe you do this to them. And just like that, the focus shifts. You were the one who was hurt, but somehow now they're the ones suffering. Maybe they say something dramatic. I can't believe you'd think that of me. After everything I've done for you, this is how you see me? I guess I'm just a horrible person, huh? And suddenly you feel guilty. Suddenly, you're the one comforting them. You're explaining that you didn't mean to upset them, that you're not attacking them, that you just wanted to talk. And that's how they trap you. They turn your valid feelings into an attack on their character, making it impossible for you to hold them accountable without feeling like a terrible person. They make you question yourself. They make you hesitate. They make you think, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I should have said it differently. Maybe I should just drop it. And that's exactly what they want, because the moment you let them make the conversation about their suffering instead of their actions, they win. They don't have to take responsibility. They don't have to change. They don't have to face consequences. All they have to do is make you feel guilty enough that you let it go. But if guilt doesn't work, they escalate. They don't just play the victim. They weaponize it. They bring up old wounds, past struggles, anything that can make you feel sorry for them. Maybe they remind you of their tough childhood. Maybe they bring up an illness, a past trauma, a financial struggle. Maybe they say something like, you know how much I've been struggling, and you choose now to come at me with this? And suddenly you feel like the bad guy. Suddenly it feels selfish to expect anything from them. Suddenly it feels cruel to ask for accountability. And just like that, they've dodged responsibility yet again. But here's the thing. Everyone goes through hardships. Everyone has struggles. But real honest people don't use their struggles as an excuse to hurt others. They don't use their past as a shield to avoid accountability. They don't manipulate people into feeling guilty just to get out of taking responsibility for their actions. A person who truly cares about you will acknowledge when they've hurt you. They won't need to turn the conversation into a sob story about themselves just to avoid saying, I'm sorry. They won't twist the narrative so that you end up apologizing for even bringing it up. They don't need to make you feel like you're attacking them just because you have boundaries and expectations. But a manipulator needs to be the victim at all costs. Even when they are the one who lied, cheated, manipulated, or hurt you, they will find a way to make you the villain. If they can't make you feel guilty, they'll try to make you look like the bad guy to others. They'll twist the story. They'll tell people you were cruel, that you overreacted, that they were just trying their best and you tore them down. They'll act heartbroken, devastated, completely blindsided as if they have no idea why you're upset with them. And if you don't fall for it, if you refuse to play along, that's when the real manipulation starts. They'll accuse you of being heartless. Wow, I guess you just don't care about me at all. I always knew you'd leave me like everyone else. I guess I'm just not good enough for you. And it cuts deep because you do care. You wouldn't even be having this conversation if you didn't care. You wouldn't be trying to work things out to get them to see your side to repair the damage. But they take that care and they twist it. They make it into a weapon. And that's the trap, because the moment you start defending yourself, the moment you start saying, no, I do care, I just want you to understand how I feel, you've already lost. Because now you're not talking about the original issue anymore. You're trying to prove to them that you're not being cruel or heartless. And the second you do that, they've won, because now the conversation is about your behavior, not theirs. So how do you break free? You stop playing the game. You stop explaining. You stop justifying. You stop getting pulled into the emotional black hole they try to create, because the truth is, you don't have to prove your kindness to someone who is using it against you. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to someone who refuses to listen. You don't have to feel guilty for expecting honesty, respect, and accountability. When they play the victim, you step back. You hold your ground. You don't engage in their pity party. You don't let them make you feel responsible for their actions, because the moment you refuse to play their game, the moment you see through the manipulation, that's the moment their power over you disappears. It starts slowly, almost invisibly. At first, it looks like concern. They tell you that certain people in your life don't really care about you. They plant little seeds of doubt, subtle comments that make you question the intentions of your closest friends and family. I just don't think they have your best interests at heart. I've noticed they don't treat you the way you deserve. You're different from them. You've outgrown them. At first, you might brush it off, but over time, the seeds start to take root. Maybe they point out how a friend didn't respond to your text right away. Maybe they highlight how your family criticizes you, twisting normal interactions into proof that these people aren't truly on your side. And the more they repeat it, the more you start to wonder if they might be right. Then they make it about themselves. They talk about how they feel uncomfortable around certain people in your life. I just don't like their energy. I get a bad vibe from them. They don't respect our relationship. And because you care about them, you start making small compromises. You stop bringing your partner around your friends as much. You skip a family event because you don't want to deal with the drama. You start prioritizing their comfort over your connections with others. But it doesn't stop there. One by one, the people in your life become a problem. There's always a reason why someone isn't good for you. Maybe they're toxic. Maybe they're jealous of you. Maybe they just don't get you. And every time you step away from another person, the grip tightens. Then the guilt starts. If you want to see a friend, they act hurt. I thought we were spending time together. You'd rather be with them than with me? I just don't know why you want to be around people who don't support you. And because you don't want to upset them, you cancel plans. You tell yourself you'll see your friend another time. But another time never comes, because every time you try, the guilt trip is waiting. You start feeling like you have to choose your relationship or your friendships, your independence or their happiness. And over time, the isolation sets in. The calls from friends become less frequent because you're never available. Your family stops inviting you to things because you always say no. One day, you look around and realize that the only person left in your life is them. And that's exactly how they wanted it, because when you're isolated, you're easier to control. When you don't have outside perspectives, it's harder to see manipulation for what it is. When you don't have anyone reminding you who you were before all this started, you become dependent on them for your reality. They become the only voice you hear, the only influence in your life. They shape how you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see them. And if you ever start to question things, if you ever think about reconnecting with the people they pushed away, they'll be ready. Oh, now you want to talk to them after everything they've done to you? I just don't get why you'd want to go back to people who clearly don't care about you. They make it feel like a betrayal. Like choosing anyone else is an attack on them. Like spending time with your own friends and family is a sign of disloyalty. And if you ever try to leave, that's when the fear tactics come out. They'll tell you that no one else will be there for you. You burn those bridges. They don't care about you anymore. I'm the only one who really understands you. And the worst part, after so much isolation, it feels true. Because when you do finally reach out to people, Things have changed, time has passed, distance has grown, and they'll use that as proof that they were right all along. But they weren't right. They just created a situation where it felt that way. Because here's the truth. The people who truly love you, they never stopped caring. They never stopped being there. They were just pushed away. And the moment you recognize the isolation tactics for what they are, the moment you start reaching back out, you'll see how much you weren't alone. That's why breaking free from isolation is so powerful. The moment you start rebuilding connections, the moment you let people back into your life, the spell is broken. The manipulator loses their control because you're no longer trapped in their world. You start hearing new perspectives, remembering who you are, seeing things clearly again. And when you do, you realize that you never needed their approval, their permission, or their validation to live your life. You were never alone. You were just made to feel that way. And once you see the truth, you can never be trapped by their lies again. Emotional warfare is one of the most insidious tactics used by manipulative people. It's not about physical battles or outright confrontation. It's about control. And control is best maintained through emotions. It's about pushing just the right buttons, creating just enough chaos, instilling just enough self-doubt that you don't even realize what's happening. It's the long game, a psychological battlefield where they dictate the rules, shift the goalposts, and make you question reality itself. At first, it might seem like passion. Maybe they express intense love, overwhelming affection, grand gestures that make you feel special. But just as quickly, that warmth turns cold. One moment they're adoring, the next they're distant, dismissive, unbothered. You try to figure out what changed, what you did wrong, why the energy shifted so suddenly. And that's the first hook, making you desperate to regain the warmth you just lost. They use silence as a weapon. You upset them, they don't say a word. They ignore your messages, act like you don't exist. Withdraw affection until you're left questioning yourself. The punishment is quiet, but its impact is deafening. You replay everything in your head, searching for the mistake, trying to find a way to fix things, apologizing even when you don't know what you're apologizing for. And when they finally acknowledge you again, when they offer you a sliver of kindness, it feels like a reward. You feel relief. But what you don't realize is that you've just been conditioned to chase their approval. You've been trained to fear their withdrawal, to prioritize their emotions over your own, to view their attention as something that must be earned. Then comes the unpredictability. You never know which version of them you're going to get. One day they're affectionate, kind, telling you that you're everything to them. The next they're cold, irritable, acting like you're a burden. And when you ask what's wrong, they say it's nothing. They leave you scrambling to understand, desperate to bring back the good moments. It's a calculated game, creating highs so high that you forget how low the lows are. Because when someone puts you on an emotional roller coaster, you're too focused on surviving the ride to realize you shouldn't even be on it in the first place. And then there's the guilt. They are masters at making you feel like everything is your fault. If they explode in anger, it's because you provoked them. If they withdraw, it's because you pushed them away. If they lie, it's because you made them feel like they had no other choice. If they hurt you, it's because you made them do it. You find yourself apologizing just to keep the peace, even when deep down you know you're not in the wrong. But the moment you question them, the moment you try to set a boundary, they flip the script. Suddenly, you're the one who's hurting them. I can't believe you'd think that of me. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I guess I'm just never good enough for you. And just like that, you're the villain in the story. The moment you start standing up for yourself, they make you feel like a monster for even trying. They weaponize your insecurities. They learn what makes you tick, what your fears are, what you struggle with, and they use it against you. Maybe they subtly criticize your appearance, not in an outright cruel way, but just enough to make you self-conscious. Maybe they question your intelligence, your worth, making comments that linger in your mind long after the conversation is over. Maybe they compare you to others, making you feel like you're constantly falling short. And over time, their words become the voice in your own head. You start believing the lies they fed you. You stop trusting yourself. You lose confidence and exactly what they want. Because the more unsure you are of yourself, the more you rely on them for validation. And if you ever try to walk away, that's when they unleash the ultimate weapon, fear. Fear that no one else will love you the way they do. Fear that you'll be lost without them. Fear that you'll regret leaving, that they're the only person who truly understands you. And the worst part, after all the emotional manipulation, all the conditioning, it feels true. They've spent so much time breaking you down that you don't even realize how much of your strength they've stolen. But here's the thing, they don't actually hold any power over you. The only power they have is the illusion they've created, the belief that you need them, the fear that you're nothing without them. But that's not reality. That's manipulation. And the second you recognize it, the second you step back and see the pattern for what it is, they lose their grip on you because you were never weak. You were never the problem. You were simply someone who cared, someone who gave them the benefit of the doubt, someone who believed in love, trust, and kindness. But those qualities aren't flaws. They aren't weaknesses. They are strengths. And the right people, the ones who truly love you, truly respect you, will never use your kindness against you. So when you finally see the emotional warfare for what it is, when you stop engaging in their game, when you decide that your peace is worth more than their manipulation, you take your power back. You realize that you don't have to stay on the roller coaster. You don't have to keep proving yourself. You don't have to keep fighting for someone who only knows how to hurt you. And when you finally walk away, when you choose yourself, when you step into the life you deserve, that's when you truly win. The moment you see through the tactics, the moment you recognize the manipulation for what it is, the game is over. Because the only real power these people have is the illusion they create, the fear, the guilt, the doubt they instill in you. They thrive on making you question yourself, making you feel isolated, making you believe that you are too broken, too weak, too dependent to ever walk away. But the truth is, you were never powerless. You were never incapable. You were never what they made you believe. You are stronger than you know. The fact that you even started questioning, started seeing the pattern, started recognizing the cycle, that is proof of your strength. That is proof that their grip is loosening. And when you finally step away, when you reclaim your sense of self, when you surround yourself with people who love and respect you without conditions or mind games, that is the moment you win. Because real love, real relationships, real connections are not built on control, fear, or emotional warfare. They are built on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. The kind of love you deserve is the kind that empowers you, not the kind that breaks you down. And when you refuse to play the game, when you choose your own peace, when you step into your own power, you become untouchable. Because no one, not even the most manipulative person, can control someone who knows their worth. And you are worth everything.